When I decided I wanted to use medical marijuana to treat my brain tumor, I was aware that I was doing something illegal in this country. Quite frankly, when you're facing your death, all of that goes out the window. I started to investigate and I found a YouTube film of a man in America that had treated a baby with cannabis oil. And as soon as I saw it, it was like a light bulb. That is what's going to save my life. Once I started administering the cannabis oil, I started to feel better almost immediately. By December of that year, when I should have, by all terms, been dead, I got the best news of my life. I have had my MRI and newsflash, cannabis kills cancer.
I don't care if this medicine comes from a tomato plant, a potato plant, or a hemp plant. If the medicine's safe and helps and works, why not use it?
Well, it goes way beyond just cancer. I mean, you know, we all have an endocannabinoid system. You know, all animal life has the same system. And these extracts, you know, can contain the cannabinoids that work with our endocannabinoid system. And the endocannabinoid system actually brings balance to our whole bodies. You know, it's an immune, you know, the cannabinoids can act as immune system boosters, and it reaches much further than just cancer. You know, like I really don't know of any condition at all that you know that this isn't probably the best medicine you could possibly take. You know, there's a strain out there that will suit the needs of anyone, but it's just a matter of determining, you know, which strains they are. And at present, I mean, the governments have prevented the proper research from being done, but I think in a short time we'll be able to get more research done on this, and then people will be able to, you know, grow strains that they know will help them. You know, but at the present time, it's a very mixed-up situation. So the only advice I can give people is to actually look for strong indica varieties that are over 20% THC. And what I've found, I mean, arthritis, Alzheimer's, even schizophrenia. You know, arthritis, it just goes on and on. MS, you know, there's so many diseases, Parkinson's, that this medicine can work miracles for. So this is what I hope people begin to understand. And when it comes to pain relief, I mean, there's strains of cannabis that will actually produce extracts that will make a painkiller that is far superior to any opiate. Now, this was a known fact back in 1840 in England. They did human trials back then on the cannabis extracts, and they also knew at the time that the extracts could actually kill pain that morphine and other opiates couldn't even touch. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a much more rational solution to relieve pain, you know, from any condition. Yeah, you know, because there's no addiction and there's no danger. Well, there was a research study here just come out recently that verified this. This is a wonderful way to break people's addictions to all of these horrible substances. Cannabis provides the answer. But you know, I mean, like people just have to realize that, you know, the indica strains are the way to go. If you're going to make an extract for internal use, the indicas, you know, are what you need. The sativas can be if you make an extract from a sativa, it can be very energizing. And this could have a very detrimental effect on the patient. So if you're going to make an extract for internal use, make sure it's indicas. And please come to realize that it's not just about cancer. You know, this is the best medicine on this planet. And even for preventative, you know, use, this is another thing that I recommend people do. You know, use the medicine to bring your body back to a state of good health. You know, take a full 60-gram treatment if you can do that, and bring your body back to a state of good health, and then just continue on with maintenance doses. You know, to prevent diseases like diabetes and cancer and so many other MS, so many diseases can be prevented if you have these cannabinoids in your body. So I think, you know, I don't think it, I know it. You know, cannabinoids are going to change the face of medicine forever. Yeah, I think and it's high time if something did. Oh no, skin cancer can be treated, you know, externally. You just put it right on the cancer and then apply a bandage. And what I always recommend is to change the bandage about every 3 days and just apply new oil until it completely heals. But for internal cancers and things of that nature, it's best to take the treatment, by mouth, or you can use suppositories. You can use it, for vaporizing too. And vaporizing is actually very good, for people with lung conditions, or even people with lung cancer. But people with lung cancer, I always recommend that they ingest the extract, just following the instructions on our website, phoenixtears.ca.
Exactly.
But every time they take their dose of medication, I instruct them to use a vaporizer, to take 2 or 3 puffs off a vaporizer every time you take your dosage. And then the cannabinoids are coming at them, especially with lung cancer. You see, like by ingesting the oil, it's going through your stomach into your liver, and then it's going into the bloodstream, and then it's coming and it's attacking the cancer through the bloodstream. But by vaporizing these extracts, you're actually bringing the unburned cannabinoids, you're breathing it right in on the cancer. So it can have a very beneficial effect for people who are suffering with lung cancer. And for any lung problems or breathing problems, asthma, anything of that nature, I think vaporizers are a great way to go. Oh, it's beyond crazy. I mean, the top experts in the world are all singing the same song here. We've got a cure. We've got a viable, rational treatment for cancer that is very, very effective here. And it's not just cancer; it's all medical conditions. This is the greatest natural medicine on this planet. And the other thing is, it follows the Hippocratic Oath. The Hippocratic Oath is the basis of medicine. And in that oath, it states, first do no harm, and it also states, I shall not administer poison. Now, when you look at chemotherapy and radiation, what do you got? Poison of the worst kind. And the other thing is, too, practically every prescription doctors provide us with are liver toxic. Again, poison to the liver. So the reality here is that doctors are not following their own sacred Hippocratic Oath. Because if they were, they would be administering and they would be backing the use of cannabis extracts. Because this medicine does everything that the Hippocratic Oath instructs. It does no harm, it produces no danger and no addiction. So, and on top of that, it happens to be the most effective medicine on earth. So, who has the right to tell us that we don't have the right to use this? This is beyond crazy. Well, vaccines are harming a great number of children, unfortunately. Autism and things of that nature, epileptic seizures. Yes, the cannabis extracts are perfectly safe. But it's a matter of where are you getting your extracts.
Yeah.
I always hope that people would grow their own and grow their own plants and produce their own extracts, because anybody can do this. But unfortunately, most people feel so helpless that they got to run out and buy the extract from all these scam artists on the internet. And there's a great number of them. There are some people out there who do supply decent extracts. I won't deny that. But for every one you find that will give you a decent extract, you'll find 20 who are just out there to con you out of your money.
Yeah.
A lot of the time you get extracts and they'll have little or no healing values at all. So, it's unfortunate that so many people are being scammed in this way, but right on my website, I've openly stated, be aware of the scam artist, and for God's sakes, produce your own medication and become your own doctor.
Exactly.
Oh yes, the detoxifying the heavy metals from your body, and you don't want toxins in your body anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to different conditions like autism, a few years ago people were saying CBD was the answer to autism. Well, CBD is not exactly the answer to autism. It may help in some cases, and actually in other cases it may do more harm than good. But what they found was that if they used THC along with the CBD, they achieved much, much better results. So again, it always goes back to, I always tell people, don't be drawn into this nonsense about CBD and CBN and CBG extracts. This is all nonsense. Dr. Raphael Michelin himself, the man who discovered THC, he's always said it's the entourage effect of all these different cannabinoids working together that creates all of these wonderful healing effects. And he's absolutely right. And with my extracts, I was growing very potent indica strains that had very high THC levels. So my extracts were up in the 85, 90% or even more THC. But they also contain CBD, CBN, CBG, and all the other cannabinoids that were available on the resin that plant produced. I'm saying, like, if you take, say, a bud from, well, any strain, say like Northern Lights. If you have some bud material, you'll produce an extract. It'll have all the different cannabinoids that were in that bud. You know, they'll all contain that. So there will be CBD, but they, you know, the levels vary from one strain to another. But I mean, it was my extracts that actually gave this medicine the recognition it deserves, and my extracts were very high in THC. So, you know, we all know like THC has really always been looked at as being the cancer killer, and it's not just about killing cancer cells. There's a wide range of other benefits that, you know, that THC provides. So, you know, I would say to anyone, you know, especially use the high level THC, you know, strains, and produce your own extracts. And, you know, a lot of these strains now, different companies, they can tell you what, like it might be a certain level CBD or THC, but then also some of these companies are telling you what level of CBD they have. So that's something people can play with. But unfortunately, I get questions all the time, you know, from people like, what ratio should I use? What ratio of THC to CBD? Well, unfortunately, nobody can answer that question because the proper research has never been done. Well, this is definitely a natural right, and I mean, right in the Christian Bible, it says we have the right to use, you know, these plants that nature provides to heal ourselves and to whatever other benefit we can derive from them. So, you know, to me, for the public to sit and allow these governments to dictate to them that, you know, you cannot, you know, you're not allowed to grow cannabis, you know, this is ridiculous. And like I said, these governments never had the right to outlaw this plant in the first place because, you know, all through history, back in Iran, in ancient times, the Zoroastrians, you know, they put a book out way back then, it was like 800, 900 years before Christ. They listed over 10,000 medicinal plants and their medical values. The number one plant on that list was the cannabis hemp plant. Hundreds of years before Christ, it was a well-known fact that cannabis had amazing healing values. But unfortunately, it was always used as a political and religious football. And then the big money got into the game, and of course they had the cannabis plant outlawed, and because it was a major threat to so many of their huge industries which are literally killing our planet, but this plant is a threat to them all, because we could be using cannabis to replace these industries. And this is what we should be doing if we want to give the human race a future. Exactly. But you know, the big money, they don't want it that way. These people, when you start talking about Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and people with names like that, you're talking about people who are nothing but psychopaths. They're out to destroy the planet, and they're out to destroy us. So I think it's just about time we put a stop to it.
Medicinal marijuana continue to unfold, and for one little boy with a rare skin disorder, it's been a near miracle.
Well, as 13 first reported last May, his family was really in the dark. They were desperately seeking some answers. Well, now Darcy Spears shows us how they are seeing the lights, all thanks to cannabis cream.
For Carter Gray, that is the sound of relief.
We just gotta oil up your head.
A massage from mom that means so much more. We first met Carter a year ago. He suffers from lamellar ichthyosis, a rare skin disorder with no cure that causes dark scales where dead skin cells don't flake off. Despite corrective surgery, Carter's skin is so tight he can't even shut his eyes. He's forced to spend most of his time inside, but his family is hoping this...
It's a miracle plant. That's what it is.
...just might change that.
It showed us from the first time that we used it that it was worth continuing to use.
When we first brought you Carter's story, his parents were dealing with industrial-sized vats of coconut oil and making some progress, but nothing like what's contained in these small jars.
Creams made from cannabis oil, an extract of marijuana.
How would you describe your reaction when you realized you'd found something that worked?
I cried a lot. I still cry. I'll be in the bathtub just scrubbing his back and the scales just fall right off into the bathtub.
Carter's grandma makes the creams in her kitchen, giving her grandson a gift no doctor could.
Completely clear, like soft as a newborn.
Take a look at these before and after photos of Carter's back and head.
No scarring, no sign that there was ever even any buildup there at all.
A dermatologist told them.
There is nothing on the market that I could prescribe you that would give you better results than what you're getting.
So how does it work? Dr. Scott Jacobson says cannabis taps into the nature of our own bodies.
The endocannabinoid system is found throughout the body, in the brain, in the immune system, in the nervous system, as well as in the skin. Actually, skin cells have cannabinoid receptors in them. And so putting them on topically, you're going to get that action directly where it's needed.
Dr. Jacobson also says cannabis is known to reduce inflammation.
He's gonna get you.
For Carter and his family,
You get him.
it's a giant leap forward.
Relieved and eager to find out more about, what we can do.
Yeah.
Since our first report, Carter's story has gone international. We have a lot more about his journey on KTMV.com.
Just goes on and on and on. In the future, this will make so much difference, to this country, and to the whole world. Once they realize the healing potential that's right there in front of us.
You're familiar with using a cannabis oil prepared via the Simpson protocol?